Okay, welcome to episode 12 of the Bear Tiger Club podcast. It's hosted by myself this week, as Zane is around gallivanting, trying out a new country club in Portugal. Just a bit of housekeeping to start with. Firstly, our heartfelt condolences of the loss of our Queen Elizabeth II, who sadly passed this week. You know, an incredible reign and should be sorely missed by so many. And also, congratulations to Mr. Lowry with a bogey-free win this week at the BMW. So
ridiculous.
Fantastic performance. Got two very, very special guests with me. So now then, first of two guests. Well, what a resume. Walker Cup player, Ryder Cup player, one as a pro, one as an am, buckets of worldwide wins, and got a little thing called a green jacket in his day. Mr. Willett, how are you, sir?
I'm very good. You?
Very, very good. And then there's the person responsible for keeping the jacket clean, I guess. So he'd been with Danny since the Masters, amongst working with other well-known pros in the day. Have to mention the big dog, Mr. Muff. How are you, sir?
How are you, mate? I'm good. You?
All sound, mate. Monday morning, bright as a daisy. So
It's one of us.
I reckon we should just crack it back a little bit, Dan. Let's go back a bit to where it all began. Imagine it was somewhere north at Border.
Of course it was.
And tell us how golf fell into your lap.
Well, I've got three brothers. Two of them are older, and golf kind of just came about because it's the only thing I could really beat them at. They were bigger than me, stronger than me, faster than me. Football, anything else, they would kick my ass, to be quite frank. So, like when you got golf and you realise that you could actually practice on your own, you didn't need anyone else there, and you kind of got hooked on it and realised that I could beat them pretty easily. It was quite a nice thing to kind of pursue and keep doing. I got lucky that 2 tram stops up the road was Pete Ball at Burley Wood Golf Club, who was, at the time, one of the best junior coaches around, especially in Yorkshire. Kind of took me under his wing and he gave me a set of clubs, shoes, balls, whatever I needed. Wow. Because he knew and he saw that there was a desire there to keep getting better and to kind of keep practicing. So,
was that a bit of a strange thing, having 3 brothers? I'm a single child, so maybe it's not so relatable, but to individualise yourself somewhat in a group of boys, which is probably quite a highly charged testosterone thing, just to think, I'm going to go and make something my own, so I've got some upper hand on you lot.
Yeah, like I said, it was the one thing that no one else could kind of get in the way and do anything. You didn't know else to practice with you. I could do my own bits, and you can see the rapid progression when you're on your own. Like I said, Pete used to close down 3 holes in the middle of the week, which we could practice on. So I'd practice as soon as school finished. I'd go back home, I'd do a bit of homework, whatever it was, and then I'd go back up to the golf club and I'd practice on my own. Pete would come out, give me a couple of tips, couple of whatever, and then me and him would go and play a few holes, and just got really addicted and hooked to it because I could see how fast I was getting better and how much I wanted to learn and all the other stuff that kind of was entailed in it, and just really enjoyed kind of doing that. I've never really liked team sports. So that was one of them things where you're like, right, I can do this on my own, I can do this, I can do that, I can practice, I can see getting better, I can chip, I can putt, I can hit golf balls. Pete's given me the ability to play a few holes, I can get better. He's given me clubs, golf shoes, and then kind of from there, you just, like I said, I just kind of got a bit hooked, and that's all I knew really after school.
So no doubt we'll move on to it slightly, going through the archives of the timeline of your career, but it definitely feels like that dogged, very passionate sort of, I'm not going to stop until I nail this, was something that was ingrained in you from a very young age.
Yeah, I always like to think that people from Yorkshire have got not a bit between our teeth, but we work hard for what we achieve. And I've been fortunate enough to be around people that have wanted to help me on my journey, really. Pete being one of them, and then Graham Walker and Pete and Mike, and you know what I mean. That kind of the journey's carried on over the last few years. So, it was one of them where once I could see myself getting better, and you kind of set targets of who was the best junior at the time, who was the best under 18s, under 21, whatever it may be, and you kind of set targets to try and chase them down. And it didn't matter who I practiced with. I could practice on my own. I could practice with my brothers. I could go and play with my brothers, or I could play on my own. Golf's an amazing sport that you can play with someone off 28 or you can play with someone off +5.
Yeah,
you can play with someone who's 12, you can play with someone who's 50. It doesn't really matter. So Pete had a really good collection of juniors up there and everyone wanted to get better. Pete made a really good environment for guys who wanted to get better. gave them the availability of the golf course and the practice facilities. And if they wanted to come and work, they could come and work. If they didn't, Pete would kind of discard them. So Pete was really, really, really big on just working hard and seeing where you kind of got.
Yeah, who was your nemesis?
Eh?
Who was your nemesis? Who did you want to beat when you were a kid?
I never really had a nemesis. I remember the Faldo series, Ollie Fish and Rory were basically the two best juniors in the world at under 16 and under 18 level. And in fairness, Rory's still there now. So, you know, you try and beat them or you try and get close to them and what they can achieve. And I mean, I got relatively close to both of them and was able to achieve quite a lot as an amateur, as a junior, as an amateur. But no, not really a nemesis, just more of someone who, you know, they were in the England squad. You know, I wanted to get in the England squad, you know, so you had to try and beat them and do as good as you could.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, and I think, just to mention names like that, you've obviously gone through a portion where, you started out taking golf on from an individual basis, and all of a sudden you're in a realm where, you know, for the listeners, they're going to start recognising some of these names really, really quickly. So it's a certain rise to fame. I remember doing a little bit of my research. I didn't realise that you'd gone through the collegiate system in the States as well.
Yeah, I did. I only did 2 and a bit years. It was always something that I wanted to do. When I was growing up, firstpointusa.com was like a big...
Yeah, Lorne Kelly.
Yeah, Lorne was like a big part of collegiate golf and getting guys into it. And it was always something that I fancied doing. I travelled the world. I didn't mind being away from home. And I thought that it was going to be a really nice stepping stone in what I was going to try and achieve. So I actually signed to Jacksonville State University before I kind of won anything. So I'd already signed with Coach Hobbs, who was a great guy. And then shortly after I signed, I finished 3rd in World Boys and I won a couple of tournaments, and then a few other kind of collegiate systems kind of got in touch asking us to go there and do this and do that. But I'd already signed with Coach, so I stayed with him. I stayed loyal, and I stayed, you know, true to my word, and I said I'd go and play with him. So I played for Coach for 2 and a bit years, and I had a great time. I learned to be on my own. I learned to get up in there every morning and practice. I learned to get up and go to school, do your work, go to the gym, do everything that you need to be able to do as a professional golfer, basically sent off on my own to do it as an amateur.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the course that you go and do your playing assessment at there. It's up in Scotland. Is it Mere Park or? But I went through that system as well with Lorne, and it's a proper grind. You're in the box some serious golfers as well. Didn't fortunately get through, but no, it's funny how tides meet. So that obviously then led you into having to make a decision. And at this point, I assume after that, it's now thinking, are we going to go try our chance of a pro, or did you come back and play some of the amateur circuit thereafter?
I played a good bit of the amateur circuit. I won the Spanish Amateur, which got me into the Spanish Open. I finished 11th or 12th there.
Solid.
And then I played the Open de Andalusia, and I think I finished 7th. And so I played a couple of events as an amateur, and I was like, you know what?
Doing a bit, yeah.
I've got a sniff here. Like, if I can get my head down and get some invites and do it. So I turned pro. I went back to college for like a week, the September of, might have been 07 or 08, whatever it was, and said to Coach, look, I'm really sorry, but I want to turn pro.
Yeah.
And he was obviously disappointed, tried talking me out of it, but turned pro shortly after that and basically played the European Tour at the time. I got my 7 invites, and I wasn't able to make my money up or the card that I needed to make at the time. So then went through all 3 stages of Q school. But them 9 events, from 2 of them as an amateur and 7 of them as a pro, you kind of realise like what you did good, what you did bad, have you got a chance, and where it was. So that kind of gave me a bit of confidence in that I was the best amateur in the world, but you're up against the big boys now. And where does your game stack up? How do you go about things? What do you like? What do you not like? And the travelling side of things, the guys have always gone, oh yeah, I don't like travelling or doing this. But for me, I'd already been in America for 2.5 years on my own.
Yeah.
You know, from 17. So the travelling side of it was easy. For me, it was more, I wanted to make sure that I did it on my terms and did it properly. And I didn't want to do it too early. And I didn't want to miss the boat either. Like, a few guys have kind of stayed amateur to play World Cup, to do, silver medal, all the other things. But I didn't want to miss that boat that I was playing good at the time. So I kind of wanted to just kind of get me teeth into it and see what I could do.
So did you go through the full Q school process as well?
Yeah, I went through all 3 stages. I went to Germany for the first stage and won that. And then went to Spain and finished like 12th. And then, finished 3rd at finals.
So then you got your full card. When's this, around sort of 2008, 2009 time?
Yeah, would have been 08, 09, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously we know there's a rich reign of form coming in a few years after that. But what was that period like, sort of getting your card? And I guess to start with, the process is, right, let me keep it, and then we'll start working our way up.
Yeah, the first port of call every year, get enough points up to keep your card, whatever that is at the time, money or points or whatever it is. The first port of call in any one year, I think when you're first starting out, is, right, what did 110th make last year? We're going to try and make that. And then anything after that is then a bonus.
Yeah.
I remember that first year out, I finished 9th or 60th on the race to Dubai.
Nice.
So I actually got to Dubai my first year, which was a hell of an effort from, obviously, a tour school card.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because obviously on a tour school card, for those that won't know, you won't have the privileges of playing all of the top tier events. You'll have to amass points in events that, well, you probably need higher place finishes, right? In sort of tier 2 and tier 3 events in order to get through and then get re-ranked and so on. That's a pod on itself, I think that. But
that's a long-winded one. That one.
So when did the first professional win come?
BMW International 2012 in Germany.
Nice.
I've been professional for 3 years. Some people thought it was a bit longer than what it should have been, but it's hard. You know, it's hard to win. I'd played a lot of events. I played good, I played bad, I played indifferent. But to actually get in and around the leaderboard a few times and learn how it was, I think it was a 5 or 6 hole playoff with Marcus Fraser around the lake on the left at Cologne. Quite a good way to win, I think. Not stress-free, but quite a good way to win on a tough golf course. Yeah. Tough playoff hole.
Loads of water on that course.
Loads of water. Hit some really good shots in the playoff, and eventually tapped in for a par that won it. I think it was a 5th. It might have been 6th. Extra playoff hole.
And that felt like, a good win. What started an embarking of Danny only wins really good tournaments. and that felt like it was a little bit of water off the duck's back a little bit. Like you said, some people thought it took too long for you to get right in the winner's circle. Because obviously the march from that point through to 2016, which I'm sure we're going to talk about shortly, was just quite monumental. You just seemed to start amassing wins and being in contention all the time. Yeah,
I had a really nice run of form, 14, 15, 16, where I made loads of cuts. I had a lot of chances to win all around the world. World Golf Championships, finished decent in majors, and kind of knocked off, I think I would have knocked off 4 decent wins in like a 2.5 year period. And like I said, winning on tour is hard, So actually, just for me, getting in position to win is the most difficult bit. When you're there, I feel like if you're in contention, your game's in a good place, you can have a good sniff at maybe polishing it off. But actually getting into contention is the difficult bit.
Yeah, because it seems like your record, you convert a lot of chances when you're right in and around it, which is a skill in itself. But so was there ever a period? Because I remember you're comfortably in the top 50 in the world at this point, I think. Was there ever a period where you're thinking, I'm going to go and renounce my European Tour status and get onto the PGA Tour earlier, or?
No, I've always wanted to play both tours. I've grown up watching Westy and Keimer and G-Mac and Poltz playing both tours and doing well. Obviously, Rory now doing it. I wanted to play both tours. Europe is my home.
Yeah.
But the PGA Tour is the PGA Tour. It's it's arguably the best tour in the world. So I wanted to try and do both, which I've, if we're being in all honesty, I've probably struggled with. Trying to split time, trying to split what you're doing, where you're living, everything that kind of goes hand in hand with it. Kids, yeah, everything. So, I've not played good enough to kind of do it as good as I could do. But I'm glad I've given it a pretty good run for 5 or 6 years and played both. Because you get the experience, having been pro for 5 years, you win Augusta, you get then the full PGA Tour card for 5 years effectively. But you're a rookie again. You've got to play golf courses that you've never played before. On the European Tour, I've played every golf course probably that's on the schedule.
Yeah.
So the PGA Tour, you go out there, you're playing, the strength in depth is better, and you're playing golf courses that you've never played before. So it's all a bit of a learning curve. It's all tough, and even to this day, I think if I were to answer it honestly, I've still probably not found the right balance in terms of how many events I'm playing and where I'm playing. But it's a work in progress. And
it's a moving target as well, right?
It's tough. Each year, you get 5 or 10 young guys out of college that are amazing. You get the same guys that are, top 10 in the world that are still playing well. So you're kind of slotting in and trying to play your game and trying to play well to give yourself some chances to win some golf tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you bridged on it. We've kept talking about it. I think something that people are absolutely definitely going to want to hear about. And I think it's when the muster actually starts to make more of an appearance is Augusta National, or April 2016. Just a monumental week. I mean, you're obviously going into it in form, as the American press often will do, that they'll talk about the players in and around there and there'll be a lot of attention towards them. I think Jordan had a lot of attention just to how he'd played. He'd won it the year previous, hadn't he?
Yeah, he won it in 2015.
So obviously to get into a situation like that, I think the first 3 rounds somewhat take control of themselves, and you were just, as you say, just keeping yourself in the shop window and giving yourself an opportunity to pounce should you need to. And then I think we come round to the final round, which is where all of the attention goes back to around 2016, because it was such a monumental move through the field. I mean, did you start 5 or 6 back on the first hole?
Yeah, I started 5 back from Jordan, and through 9 I was still 5 back. We shot 2 under, he shot 2 under. But he was kind of spreading himself away from the field. Me and Westy were 5 and 6 back at the time, I think. So yeah, he was basically giving himself a really massive margin and looked like he was obviously going to go back to back. But we kept his head down and we played brilliant on that back 9, really. Just
to break that down, because obviously there's so much pressure that comes around the corner. What was your strategy going into the corner? And were you trying to see if I can take 2 out of him here? I might have a sniff still, or...
Yeah, you don't really know. Amen Corner is obviously really famous for people having calamities. It just is. It's a really tough stretch of holes. But if you hit it well, you can make a score, and you can then, you can have a 2-3 shot swing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we hit a great 6 iron into 10, made par, simple par on 11, pretty simple par on 12. I hit it right edge of the bunker, stayed a little bit short, 2-putted for par. So you kind of threw the holes where you feel like you could have a real mess up.
Yeah.
13 onwards, you've got 2 par 5s, you've got a couple of short par 4s. You've got some good looks at birdies coming down the stretch if you're playing well.
Yeah, and obviously that pin on 16 on a Sunday, you got to put it in the right spot, but everything cambers towards it.
Augusta set that golf course up to score on a Sunday. You'll have seen all the pins, like even, thinking back now, because I've watched it so much on television, it's almost like you've had a practice round, because you know where the pins are going to be. You've seen shots spin back in on 7 close. You've seen shots gather into 8. 9, if you get the right tee, you can hit it close. You know where them pin locations are. So you kind of feel like, it was only my second year there, but you kind of feel like you've played it a few times.
Yeah.
Just because you've watched it on television, you've seen Tiger and the guys hit great shots and do whatever. So I think that in itself helps it, because you're on the same golf course year in, year out.
Yeah, I've done 100 hours on the Masters PlayStation, so I reckon if I get a chance...
You'll be fine. Spin it back on 7, you'll be right.
Tiger Woods Golf.
I'm kidding, yeah. Tiger Woods Masters Edition. I think I broke it playing it so much. You get the old Red Bull tapped up. Yeah, so I think, moving through the motions on that back 9, though, there's obviously something there's something that's come through, and you put the gas on. Obviously, like you said, you must have had a chat with Smarty at the time, and 13 and 15, you think we've got to take something out the course here and see how we look.
Yeah, I mean, 13's a great chance, but you need to get your tee shot away.
Yeah,
and I was primarily in a fade at the time, but I actually, me and Smarty said you've got to take this one on a little bit. So we've hit 3 wood all week, so we actually tried to hit driver and actually keep it really tight to the left so that we could have a shot in and kind of hold the green. We hit 5 iron in, 2-putted for a birdie, stiffed a wedge on 14. Unfortunately, I hit it like kind of left on 15. Wasn't able to go for the green, so I had to lay it up. Hit a nice wedge into like 10, 12 feet and missed that. But at the time, I was like, well, we've picked up a couple.
400 through 15 here, yeah. So
400 through 15, making his way nicely through. But I think Jordan at the time, again, I'm not sure. I think he still had a 4-shot lead.
Right.
Or a 3-shot lead. And then as the flag's gone back in on 15, the crowd just went mental. Everyone's oohing and ahhing. We kind of turned around, and Jordan went from 7 to 3, I think it was, or 2 even. I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
But Westy had just chipped in on 15 for eagle. So Westy had just got to 3. Jordan must have been 2. I was at 4.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, from absolutely nowhere,
you're leading the Masters.
You're leading, but you're actually leading from a good pal of yours who's actually playing in that group. It's not like you're leading from the guy who's 3 or 4 groups back. You're now leading from Westy.
And did you then, at that point, I know there's a moment at the 16th where you go and have a moment with yourself, but was part of the mentality to think this is the final group now, like have a final group mentality. If I beat him, I've got a really, really good chance.
It was more, again, very fortunate to be in the position that we were in, and we got the lead late on a Sunday. We weren't sleeping on it. It wasn't really in the back of your mind for a couple of days or whatever. We got there late. We were leading on 15. For your first major, that is probably as perfect as it can be, because you're already in the zone of trying to press for birdies.
Yeah, you're
trying to catch him down. You're already warmed up. You're not going to sleep on anything. You're in a pretty aggressive mode of playing. So yeah, I went. Yeah, I needed a toilet. So I went and had a wee, and actually said the cabin behind 16 just said, 5 good swings.
What did somebody just say? Hey man, you're leading the Masters.
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
And obviously, Muffy, you were there, and I know you were working with ISM at the time, and I think you were there with Fitzy, weren't you?
Yeah.
But like, what's kind of happened, like the rupture because obviously it's a little bit different, Augusta. I noticed from going to many events, there's not as many scoreboards there, or not as many scoreboard opportunities as you get.
No electric stuff.
So you're just waiting for some young lad who they've pulled out of high school, like get them white plates up on the wall, kid. Give us a chance here.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way of really, a European Tour event, PGA Tour event,
it's digital.
Every hole almost. Yeah. There's something there. How far you've hit it away, what your stats are, all the stuff up. But there's something quite nice within Augusta. It's all scoreboards, and you know where they are. So from where they are and what people are doing around a golf course, you kind of get the vibe of how the energy is and how it's all flowing through. You can hear it from the trees. You can hear it echoing round. If someone's made bogey, if someone's made birdie. The noises that run through that golf course are just phenomenal. And yeah, that on 15, like I said, when Smarty put the flag in, everyone was just like, oh. And we kind of looked round, not really paying much attention, thinking, he might have made bogey.
I think he dropped 5. I think he made 9. Yeah,
I can't remember exactly what it was. It was all a bit of a blur, to be honest.
So you were there. Were you up near the clubhouse, probably having a beer, weren't you, or something?
No. Fitzy had gone because he played early. Sent him on his way. He was going to Hilton Head. And then, I went back out. I was like, I'll go watch Dan finish. Not really knowing what was going to happen. And then, obviously, Birdie's 16. I was trying to find his pals because he was there with all his mates that year. Because obviously Zach had just been born. My wife luckily let me go as well because I just had twins. So we were kind of in similar situations at that point, I suppose. But I remember bumping into Slammer, one of Danny's best mates, later to be caddy. Yeah, and we started sort of hugging each other and saying Dan's gonna win the Masters, which was surreal. But it was a pretty insane moment, really. But
and you still had which is lovely to know that was going on, and then obviously the elation and what's to come after that is probably a story in itself. But you still got 3 holes to get through. 16. It's just about landing that in the right spot, isn't it?
Yeah, 16's actually with the Sunday flag's actually a really good birdie chance. But you've got it at the right shot.
Yeah.
You leave it on top, it's really tricky to put. But I think it was 178, absolutely flushed an 8-iron trying to draw it in off that middle slope to about 8-10 feet, straight below the hole. Westy had 3-putted, and then when I rolled that in, all of a sudden, I had a 3-shot lead. Out of absolutely nowhere, you've got a 3-shot lead, and then it's like, deep breaths. This is actually happening.
Yeah, and 17 and 18 are no mugs, are they? Do you know what I mean? So your concept around 5 good swings here is absolutely still rife.
17's sneaky hard.
Yeah, 17's tough.
So tight.
So straight. I've never played it with the Eisenhower tree there, so I don't know what it was like before, but it would have been ridiculously tight before. So just the hardest holes at times in golf are just bang straight.
Yeah.
Tree line both sides. You've got a couple little jut outs. It's it's a good drive and it's a wedge or a 9-iron, which doesn't seem that crazy. But if you're out of position, you're trying to hook or slice a wedge or a 9-iron, 20 yards around a tree. So I hit a good tee shot, but actually just went into the left semi. And then I had to try and hit a big high draw over the trees with 9-iron, and actually went a bit long into ordinarily would be a relatively simple place. But that year, because of how the golf course was playing, really firm, really fast, it was actually a terrible spot to be. But it probably hit the best chip
this wedge shot
I will ever hit.
I think you hit some great shots all that week, but I mean, for those that know golf, I mean, all the lap of the gods were against you there, weren't they? I mean, that was tight as anything. It was slightly down. You had to really nip it.
Yeah, it's like on a little down slope because of how it curves off up the back. You had to nip it into a little up slope, kind of get it checking just on top. And then, again, some years are slower than others, whatever it was. But particularly that year, was really fast. So it basically had to almost stop on the top of the crest to get down there. You know, you can hit it to 6 feet, no worries. But to be able to actually almost walk up and tap that in from a foot, you know, your hands are shaking. You know, you're terrified. You've never been in this position before. So, yeah, to actually be able to kind of pull that off when that feels like that, so that you can actually just tap it in. Because under them circumstances, the last thing you want is a 3-footer downhill, left to right, whatever it may be.
At this point, the heart rate's going up a little bit. You just want holes behind you. You want to be in the hutch and say, right, catch me. Yeah. So,
Billy walking up with his thumb in the air was quite a sort of iconic moment, I think, for that.
Yeah.
And I think he appreciated how difficult that shot was, and he worked with Seve and some of the greatest.
He's seen them all, isn't he?
Yeah.
Billy.
Yeah.
So as soon as that gets to the brow and that just sort of almost like the cheddar just kind of gives up and then just sort of the momentum takes it down to the hole, it's just a filth shot, to be fair.
Yeah, like I go back there every year and try and hit the chip, but it's not the same because that particular year, the golf course was tough. It was firm, it was fast, it was windy. You know, so you go back there normally, and actually when it's not crazy firm or not crazy fast, it actually seems like quite a big area to kind of chip it into. But when it was firm fast as it was, it kind of, you know, your area felt tiny, what you're trying to pitch it in. So yeah, to obviously pull that off when you're under the gun, your hands are shaking was pretty good.
Yeah. So you're coming up 18, get your drive away pretty well. Mm-hmm. And then is it, it's just a process then, isn't it? Still stick to your processes. And
it is. I mean, that flag, again, the flag on 18 is a great birdie chance. Yeah. We hit 3-wood off the tee and left ourselves about 175, 180 in. So I had 7-iron in my hands, taking a bit off a 7-iron, and basically the only thing that's in your head is miss it right.
Yeah.
Even if you go in the bunker, you're going to have a good chance to be able to use the bank and do whatever, but just miss it right. So first port of call was hold on for dear life and make sure that it starts just up the right-hand side, which it did, and went pretty straight. I got a little bit of I did get quite a nice little kiss off the cush, if you actually watch it back, to kind of hit it into like 15, 18 feet. And then I don't know why, I was boiling all day, but a bit of superstition, never took my jumper off, and then decided to take it off up there because you've hit all your shots now, all it is a putt, so you're kind of thinking that you can't really mess that up. But obviously I was trying to script all the clothes and get the match in the green and this, but you never really think that it's going to come to fruition and it's actually going to be that iconic. But yeah, to have the white trousers and the green golf shirt on was pretty special.
Yeah, it was an incredibly special moment, and an incredibly special moment, I think, actually, and I'm not sure whether or not it's ever been relayed to you, but for just British golf fans, it was a massive thing. Obviously we have the Open here, and the Ryder Cup are really, really special for golf fans, but there's just something about the Masters, the first major of the year. It really embarks the opening of the golf season. We hadn't had an English winner since Sir Nick, and it was just a massive thing for English golf. I think you touched a lot of hearts. It was a really, really, really special moment for everyone involved.
Yeah, I don't think we realised how big it was until we got home.
Until we got to the players. That was
4 mental. Weeks later, but there's obviously been British golfers. There's been myself, Nick, Wuzzy, Sandy. It's like there's been some great golfers that have won it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the English guys, obviously just me and Sir Nick is a pretty cool group to be in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like I said, yes, it's a major. Yes, it's important. Yes, it's a huge event. But I don't think I ever truly grasped how big of a win it was until kind of the next, 3-4 months with everything that kind of went with it.
And I think that's where, Muffy, your involvement goes into turbo, right? I mean, all of a sudden, it's just like the PR must have just been mad after that.
Yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it? I remember driving to Dan's house, and there were people on the lane. He lives in quite a remote area, and there were reporters, cameras, you name it. They were all down his lane, trying to get a piece of him, which was a bit mental. And we went and did some media stuff around at Lindrick, which is quite close by. But yeah, it was crazy. And then you kind of, it was crazy in the UK, but then when you got back to America, you kind of just see how massive it is. You know, it's that major just is it's different to any other. I think, you know.
I agree.
I mean, obviously the Open for us is huge, but I think outside of that, it's, you know, definitely the Masters is just like, yeah, it is something else. We were going for dinner and people were chasing us down to get him to sign flags. It was a little bit crazy. Ended up turning into a bit of a bodyguard for a couple of months, to be honest.
Is that why you got those inflatable guns?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they've gone now, mate. They've gone. I don't need them anymore.
It's dad bod time now, mate. Just embrace it. And still, though, I mean, some really good golf's come after that. Obviously, won the DP World and have continued to sort of play at the top level. You know, what does the sort of next couple of years really feel like? You know, where are you trying to get to, or?
Yeah, I've not quite been at the level in terms of world ranking that I'd like to be at for the last kind of 4 or 5 years. But you know, we've had injuries. We've been trying to play both tours. You know. Obviously life, you know, 2 little kids. But yeah, my main goal is to get back to where I think I should be in the world rankings, which is a top 10 player in the world. And, you know, we work hard and we try and do that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, you know, I just want, I know what I can achieve. I know what I can do when I've got the chance to perform. And I just like to give myself more chances so that, you know, I can potentially do that. So yeah, these last few years have now been to try and get the consistency back up, kind of the consistency I had in 15, 16, to give myself a few more sniffs, you know, because if I get a chance and I get in contention, I feel like I'm pretty good. So the main thing is actually just getting there is a tough one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sort of conscious of time, so I'm going to roll through the remaining bits. It's not like I'm stopping you from getting to the airport to fly back to Napa. So as long as you don't go and drink all the JLT's wine, the 19 vineyards he owns, he'll be ecstatic about that. So I thought we'd just do a couple of bits. I got some quick fire round stuff for both of you. So I'll start with Dan. Right, starter or dessert?
Starter.
Really, after the week we've had?
Yeah, I know. I like a prawn cocktail or a carpaccio.
Nice. Stay at home or hotel for events?
Hotel. Feel like I get more in the zone, and you kind of in it a bit more.
Lay up to a number or hit it as close as possible?
Hit it as close as possible.
Zane will be happy. Favourite course you've not won on?
Good question. Huh?
I know, because I knew the answer to the other side of it.
Bale, maybe?
Yeah, Bale's a great golf course. Royal County Down. Phenomenal golf course.
Nice. Favourite ice cream flavour?
Got to be pralines and cream.
Oh, go on, boy. Have you had a better manager than Muffy?
Yes.
Post-round drink?
Diet Coke, usually.
Solid. Holiday location?
Lake Como.
Nice. Green jacket or jacket potato?
Green jacket. Silly question.
Right, Muffy. Skips in Skipton or August in Augusta?
August in Augusta.
Rip bod and sciatica or dad bod and walk normal?
Dad bod and walk normal.
Post-round drink?
Oh, water. Sparkling.
Never. You've never drunk sparkling water after a round in your life.
That's for the fans, that is. Yeah. If you were stuck on a desert island with only one call, who would it be?
Oh, my wife. I've got to say that, haven't I?
Me.
Holiday location for the Muffs?
Probably
Orlando with me.
Orlando. Abersock in Wales.
What's the best club in your golf bag, Muffy?
Oh, God. Putter.
Nice. What is it?
That one that fishes the balls out at water.
Yeah. It's actually a limited edition one that Dan gave me.
There you go.
Odyssey. Question marks on the bottom.
Who wants a pension when you get perks like that?
Exactly.
And Muffy, what's the best golf shot you've seen on tour as a manager?
Ooh. Am I allowed to talk about the one? Oh, that wasn't on tour, was it? I was going to say the Sunningdale Heath.
Oh, no.
That's a little sneak. That's a snicket, isn't it?
You keep that, I mean, that was up there, to be fair.
Oh, God, best golf shot. Probably Dan's drive on 18 under the pressure at Augusta. I think.
Yeah, imagine if you'd have had a whoop on then in 2016.
It'd have been about 150.
It'd have been like one of your Peloton rides,
Exactly.
I reckon.
Yeah.
Right.
When you stood on the side of the fairway thinking, it's in the trees here, mate.
Don't
Please,
snap
come
up.
on.
Don't snap.
Yeah.
Right, so normally on the pod as well, we normally do a heads gone where like you've had something happen to you during the week where something's just made you have like a blowout on your head. And this thing happened to me this week. So you guys have a quick think if you got any. But I mean, it does my absolute nutting. People that wear sunglasses in pitch black, even worse than that.
Muff did it a few weeks ago.
Even that, people who do sunglasses in nightclubs absolutely turns me over. That.
What about?
I mean, you can't see nothing, especially you've got the old polarised nudges. You're in right pickles.
Can't see anything.
What about golf fans swinging an umbrella around?
Love that.
One.
Saw that this week.
There's plenty of them this week.
Or a volunteer swinging a quiet please sign.
I'm sure there's a few. Right, we'd be remiss just not to talk a little bit about Bear Tiger Club. Obviously, we've been over the moon, Dan, that you've come on board and been an ambassador. You've spent a lot of time understanding about the project, seeing that you think that there's definitely an opening for the future of the market there. You know, not so much just inside IRL events, but also just golf moving into a more digital format. So thank you for doing that. Yeah, there's, we hope that there'll be plenty more to come on the media side with Danny in the near future for all of those that are listening. Muffy, you're always a legend. Yeah, you're on the WhatsApp 24/7. Your work ethic's unbelievable. So thank you very much for both coming on. For all those listening, remember, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you very soon and have a safe flight to Napa.
Thank you.
Thanks, bud.